Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today.
Hey guys, Fred Presbury again. This is the second part of that video I discussed earlier. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Bye. Let's move on to the next one. Short story I call The Stalker. So, The Stalker, right? Let me give you a little bit of background. At that point, I was a director, right? And I was working at a director level organization. I can't tell you where, but I would say that I had a lot of staff. Now, this is a union hospital. If you ever worked at a union hospital, you know that the union staff members are afforded a great deal of protection, right? Now, that's important to understand for the story and for the context of what I'm going to tell you. I've been staff, I've been a consultant, I've been a clerk, I've been management, I've been director, I've been private officer, I've been everything, right? So I can tell you that the perception at different levels is different, right? The higher up you go, your perception of things is different. So I find that when you're in, let's say, an entry-level position or a clerk position, what usually happens is people can kind of congregate amongst themselves and bounce ideas off each other. It's called an echo chamber. Basically, in the absence of any outside information or outside ideas, people are formulating opinions and statements amongst themselves that make sense to them, but objectively would make sense to no one else. Things that would probably literally seem insane, okay? That's the context behind this story, the Stalker, I want you to understand. There was a gentleman who had worked in that organization for a good 20-something years, right? Always seemed kind of kooky, but like well-meaning, kind of one of those people who would probably be considered a weirdo, but like he's harmless, right? Like, you know, like the harmless weirdo types, right? Like you look over, this person's clipping their toenails in the middle of the office and you're just like, that's gross, but you're not hurting nobody. That kind of thing, right? Like that kind of weird energy that you get for this guy. So this guy, you know, just quirky and as weird as he is, always saying little weird things, always doing little weird things, but again, harmless, you know, not outside the bounds of the rules, right? Now, me as director, I started, you know, having to do the director thing, which includes discipline, right? Over the course of several years in that organization, this person's relationship with me just became slowly more and more antagonistic. Like they just started saying weird things and doing weird things and just really having an issue with me, where before they were harmless, it suddenly became like they had like a mission to have an issue with me. Anything I did was seen as, quite literally described as, pure evil. You know what I mean? I'm just like, that's weird, but okay, strange flex, but all right. Things started escalating and it got so bad to where, you know, when I would do something like, you know, anything typical, like having a conversation with them, like, you know, they started recording the conversation. They got back to me secondhand and I'm like, first of all, you're not allowed to record conversations. Like no one's doing anything to you. What's going on, right? I'm in the next morning, you know, somebody comes to me, they're like, did you see the email? What email? The email from so-and-so. No, I didn't see an email. I just got in. What's it about? It's about you. About me? Yeah, about you. Well, I would love to see this email. Please show me the email. I read this email and it is the most insane. And I still have it to this day. I kept the copy because it's just ludicrous, right? To this day, I kept it. It's the most insane, rambling nonsense I've ever seen in my life, right? This individual said that I was a hired killer, that I was a trained assassin, and that they felt like at any given time, I might run them down in my car and kill them. Like literally, this was an email distributed to everybody, and like they even included the CEO of the organization. Very concerning for me as leadership, very concerning for me as a person, right? So me being me, I did the management thing, I did the leadership thing, I took it to HR. Absolutely not. No, I'm not dealing with this. Like we need to deal with this right now. I'm not dealing with that. Took this guy, you know, before HR leadership, you know, before the union, because they have the right to representation and all that stuff like that, right? And I'm like, yeah, I need us to explain like what's going on with this. Like this is a problem. Like this needs to stop yesterday, right? This person goes on again, you know, reaffirming and doubling, tripling down on the fact that I'm a hired killer, that they believe that I'm a trained assassin, that they think at any point in time I may run them down in the street and kill them. They even went so far as to say, and these are, like I said, this is the stuff that got scary to me, that they notified the police that in the event that anything happened to them, it was me. Like, now we're talking about like my life and my professional career. Outside of that, if something does happen to this guy, if he happens to walk in front of a train or something, they're going to say it was me. Scary as hell. That shit was scary, right? This guy even went on to say that he has, seen me walking in the street. He's taking pictures of me. He's recorded me walking. I mean, this guy was stalking me, like literally stalking me. He had been asking people to find out about my background and my personal life outside the organization, outside of work. Scary shit, right? Like literally stalking me. And on top of the fact that the organization didn't do anything, which was scary in and of itself, like I felt like I was left out there. I wasn't really supported. The scary thing was, and again, yeah, he did get to keep his job, right? Nothing happened. The scary thing was that this man believed it. Listen, I am not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor in that regard, anything like that. Mental health issues are real issues, and I believe that if you have issues like that, you should seek help. There's no stigma against that. Nobody's making fun of that. But this guy, when I tell you he believed what he was saying, he believed what he was saying. He literally believed I was a hired killer and that something might happen to him and it would be me. And he notified the police and his family and this and that. The scariest thing for me was that this guy really really truly believed in his world, in his reality, in his mind, that I was trying to kill him. So if you really believe that, for you, I'm asking you as the viewer, in your own daily life, your own personal beliefs, what lengths will you go to if someone's trying to kill you? Those were my concerns, because this guy, like I said, it wasn't real to me, but that was the reality he had. That was the reality he was living in, that I was trying to kill him. So what does that mean? What lengths will he go to quote unquote protect himself from this person who he sees as a purely antagonistic evil force? Think about that. That's why that's scary. It was scary. That shit was scary. That was scary, man. That wasn't no joke. Long story short, I'll wrap it up because I got one more story I want to throw in at the end, a little bit of a bonus story. What ended up happening with that situation? Nothing. He was allowed to continue in his capacity, and I just did my best to avoid him until I was no longer there. It was crazy, but that's another story for another day. And the last story, I know I said 3, but we're going to add in 4 for a bonus story. I'm calling this one Bodies in the Wall. This is also a real story, right? So I was working at a organization. Again, I won't say where, I won't say when, I won't say which one. I'm working in an organization, and a part of my function as management was to relocate the office off-site to another site. I've done those kind of things. It's fine. I've handled it, right? I off-sited the department from the main site to a sister facility downstairs into the basement of a rented space, right? It's fine. They got it all set up for them. Here's the issue, though. There were a lot of rats. There were a lot of insects, right? I'm talking like rats in the department, like rats. Not even mice, just honest to God, rats, right? We had a lot of issue with like vermin. So in order to curb that, we got a exterminator, right? So we had the exterminator to come out maybe every 2 weeks, like once a month to every two weeks. And, the exterminator did everything that they could do, and it cleared up, right? Things were cool, moved forward. We didn't have any issue. And then the smells started, and it just got worse. And like we're talking about, it started it smelled like trash at first, and then it became this just unbearable, I want to call it a fog. Like you couldn't see it, but you could smell it. So you got the elevator, it would just hit you. You're like, oh my God, no, like I can't work down here. Like it stinks. Like it's so bad, right? So again, called the exterminator, calling everybody, what's going on? Why does it smell like that? We can't have people down there. It's making people sick, right? The quality of air was a legitimate concern at that place. Okay, so I'm calling everybody again, calling all the powers that be. Nobody's really getting back to me. I start telling you like, yo, I need you to come down here, right? I raised the red flag. I raised the alarm, so and so. Management came down, upper management, higher than myself, came down, and they smelled it, and they were like, wait a minute, how long has this been going on? I'm like, for at least 2 weeks. People have been down here like this for a while. They're like, y'all smell like that constantly? Like, yes, we need to figure out what it is. So they paid for, somebody to come out and figure out what it was for the contractor, right? So we're kind of going around. I'm going around with them, and they're like, okay, let's go here. So we're going into the main areas in the back. And this building was old. I mean, the building was old as hell. Like, it was built in the early 1900s. I'm talking about like tunnels on tunnels on tunnels and hallways that lead to different areas that look scary, like some Ghostbusters 2 subway stuff, right? All right, so we're back there navigating the area. Everything's fine. And then when we get back there, we're like, okay, well, like this seems to be like the main spot where it smells the strongest. So they cut a hole in the wall so they could see what was going on, and out fell all these dead rat bodies, like a lot of them. What we had found out was that because we were in the basement, because of our proximity to the New York subway, there were lots of rats, and the rats were near infinite. So when we called the exterminator came and put the poison down, and the rats were eating the poison, and then they were dying in the walls. That's what the smell was. The rats were dying in the walls. So when we cut them out, they all fell out. It just was disgusting. Just like a pile of dead rats that were in the wall. You know what I mean? And it just was like, what do we do with this? But the point is, bodies in the wall, because it was an infinite problem. You're not going to get rid of the rats in New York. You really can't. There's no way to get rid of the rats in New York. So we poisoned the rats. We had them come out. They took care of the rats, but the rats were going to the wall and dying, and that's what the smell was. All right, again, guys, it's Professor Presbury. I hope you enjoyed it. That's it. Please like, comment, share, subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll do more content every now and again that's kind of themed like that. So I hope it makes sense, and I hope you have fun. Bye.
Intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character. That is the true goal of education.